Well, the Leafs have certainly made a lot more moves ahead of Friday's trade deadline. And for more on this, we're joined this morning by TSN Bardown's Luca Celebre. Kind of a bonus chat with you, Luca. We started this week talking on Monday sort of about what could happen. Now we kind of know what is happening here. So let's start with defenseman Rasmus Sandin. He's on his way out.
Yeah, kind of a shocker, so to speak, and no one really saw this one coming. It's a good move to get a first-round pick back, but I think it's one that's shocking. He's kind of an analytics darling that has played really well in third-line minutes or third-pairing minutes and probably has deserved a bigger opportunity, but just wasn't getting the look in Toronto. So I guess Kyle Dubas does right by him and sends him to Washington, where his role should expand, and they'll probably have the money to make it expand as well, because if you remember in the summer too, there was that contract issue, didn't sign him long-term, so maybe that money they're forecasting they'll need that for Austin Matthews or William Nylander and trying to keep this core together rather than paying Rasmus Sandin, who could command more money if he gets more minutes. And so it's a bit of a shocking move, but because of the Jake McCabe move as well the day before, it is a little more understandable because you're just adding more defensemen in that room and more defensive defensemen. When Sandin's kind of offensive, that's his game, and the Leafs are a little tougher to play against with the moves they've made, and so it makes a little sense, but shocking to say the least.
Yeah, a little sandpaper, a little grit. We always hear this time of year when it comes to what the Leafs need to add. That's for sure, Luca. Also, the Leafs have added Erik Gust-uv-sin. Tell us about him.
Yeah, it's interesting because he is a depth defenseman, but a little more offensive in his game for sure, and he's having a pretty good season with the Capitals. I'm pretty sure he had a really great game against the Leafs this season earlier on and scored a couple goals against them in a win. But yeah, if you're looking for an offensive defenseman to kind of replace Sandin as far as the production goes or what he might bring to you, Erik Gust-uv-sin's the guy. He's had offensive seasons in the past where he's kind of been great, put up some points, and just played well at that end of the ice. So it makes sense to try and target him as a guy to just add some depth, but maybe not rely on totally.
Yeah, he put up a hat trick against the Leafs, like you mentioned earlier this season. So yeah, he definitely knows how to put the puck in the net, at least those 3 goals this season. Now, the Leafs weren't finished, though. I mean, Kyle Dubas, he's got to have unlimited minutes on his phone because he's been working the phone so much lately, Luca. He's also, Pierre Engvall is on his way out as well, a name that we've got to know as well.
Yeah, Pierre Engvall out. I feel like the meme I saw everywhere was just Dubas at the draft with the 2 phones.
Yeah,
and
that's
people
right.
Just cutting the phones out and making more phones on it. So great memes going around with Kyle Dubas. But yeah, Pierre Engvall out, and a little bit of a shocker and a surprise too, but it makes sense as far as when you're looking at the money situation. They're trying to maybe add another player. People are saying they're not done yet, or activating Matt Murray off of IR is going to cost some money depending on when he's able to get back for the season. So it makes sense to free up some money, but Engvall is a really solid forward. He's a strong player on the puck. He's a really good forechecker, and that guy doesn't get replaced easily. That said, Noel Acciari has been really good since coming over from the Blues, and he's provided that depth as well. So everyone's excited about Ryan O'Reilly from that trade, but Acciari has just fit in really well, and his play could make a guy like Engvall a little bit expendable in this situation and help the Leafs free up some money if they were to make another move.
And that's the thing, of course, the deadline's coming up Friday at 3 o'clock, but Toronto and Kyle Dubas wasn't finished yet, acquiring defenseman Luke Schenn. We almost need 10 minutes to talk about all this.
I know, it's crazy. Like one move after another, and the defensemen are just continuing to be added. You can never have enough of them. I don't know if they're planning on playing 3 defensemen, 2 forwards because of how many they have, but it's nice to see Luke Schenn coming home. Last year, he had a great season with the Canucks with Quinn Hughes and playing primarily with that youngster, and this season has been a little tougher, but a stay-at-home defenseman, guy that likes to hit a lot, block shots. It's one of those things. You mentioned sandpaper. That's what they're getting, and that's what they've kind of prioritized here in the moves that they've made. It's this grit. It's this hard-working depth. It's this hitting and blocking shots and those kinds of things. And a lot of people are wondering if it's been too much change. There's only time that's going to answer that question, and we'll see when the first round of the playoffs comes against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But it's a fair question to ask, and we'll kind of see how all these pieces fit. I would say that Kyle Dubas and company know what they're doing, and they're acquiring character guys that they know will fit into this locker room. So I wouldn't be too worried about that, but who knows? It's only 20 games to kind of get that chemistry going.
That's right. It really is all about getting past the first round of the playoffs. Luca, I can imagine the only people kind of disappointed by all this flurry of activity is sort of Duthie and O-Dog and the trade center team, right, who come Friday at 3 o'clock. What's going to happen? I guess we'll find out then. Maybe there is another move in the bag from Dubas. We'll see. Anyway, Luca, thanks for joining us again. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.